Good morning, scholars. Welcome back to day 4 of virtual learning. Before we start, we have a few announcements and updates. Be sure to log into your literature and math classrooms by 9:45 a.m. every morning. You're going to check to see if you've been invited back to our reteach block. Our literature reteach block starts at 10 a.m. and our math reteach block starts at 10:45 a.m. You are also going to check your previous day's score and any feedback that has been left for you. Our daily lessons are uploaded at 12 p.m. That's 12. Scholars, if you have any questions about the content that you have learned for the day, be sure to stop by our office hours. Our literature office hours is at 2:15 p.m. and our math office hour is at 3:15 p.m. Now, scholars, this next step is a step that most of us are completely forgetting. When you upload or once you have finished your assignment, all assignments must be completed by 10 p.m. daily. Once you have completed your assignment, it is very important that you mark is done. 1 second. So, scholars, we are in lesson 2A. Now, this is yesterday's lesson. We're going to go down. We're completing our independent practice. After I have completed my independent practice, I am going to go up to the top, my right-hand corner, and I'm going to select Mark as Done. Again, once you have completed your assignment here, you're going to go up to the top and select Mark as Done. All right. So, scholars, today you will be completing your exit ticket. In your exit ticket, you must respond using an ACE paragraph. Again, when you complete your exit ticket, you must respond using an ACE paragraph. Your ACE paragraph should include an argument, context, two pieces of evidence, and an analysis. Again, your ACE paragraph must include an argument, context, two pieces of evidence, and an analysis. Today's lesson will require you to write an ACE paragraph. So, scholars, Ms. Richardson and I noticed that most of us struggled on question 2 of our independent practice on yesterday. The question from yesterday was, what happened when Ptolemy fled from Egypt? I am going to share with you an exemplary response, and I'm also going to share my evidence for this response. The response to the question. When Ptolemy fled from Egypt, he left his eldest daughters in charge, Cleopatra and Bernice. His daughter Bernice seized power and got rid of her sister. Then Ptolemy got power back and killed Bernice for her disloyalty. He wrote a will that left Cleopatra and her brother as his successors. So this is an example of an exemplary response to question 2 of our independent practice on yesterday. I am now going to share with you the evidence that I used to write this response. I first mentioned that he left his eldest daughters in charge. I am on page 11 in our book, and I'm right here. I'm explaining that he fled the city, and in his absence, he left his eldest daughters, Cleopatra and Bernice, in charge. Then I talked about how Bernice took over. Here's my next piece of evidence. Bernice soon got rid of Cleopatra and seized complete control of her father's reign. Right? I am now on page 12 and I'm giving more evidence. Let me make sure you guys can see this. All right. Restored to power, Ptolemy took steps to make sure that his position would be secure. First, he had his daughter, Bernice, executed for treachery. And treachery is just betrayal. Another piece of evidence is third and most important, he drew up his will. And in that will, he named Cleopatra and her 6-year-old brother as his successors to make it clear that the dynasty would continue. So, scholars, I have showed you 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of evidence that I used to answer the prompt number 2 from yesterday's assignment. Let's go back. Again, I'm going to say the exemplar response one more time. What happened when Ptolemy fled from Egypt? When Ptolemy fled from Egypt, he left his eldest daughters in charge, Cleopatra and Bernice. His daughter Bernice seized power and got rid of her sister. Then Ptolemy got power back, killed Bernice for her disloyalty. He wrote a will that left Cleopatra and her brother as his successors. Whoa. We're moving. And we're going to do a quick recap of all of the updates that we discussed. Scholars, 1, be sure to log into your literature and math Google Classrooms by 9:45 a.m. daily. You're checking 1 to see if you've been invited back to the reteach block. You're also going to review your score and see your feedback. Our literature reteach block starts at 10 a.m. Our math reteach block starts at 10:45 a.m. All lessons are updated daily at 12 p.m. If you have any questions, you can come to our office hours. Our office hours for literature is at 2:15. The office hours for math is at 3:15. Once you have completed your assignment, and all assignments must be completed by 10 p.m. daily. Once you've completed your assignment, you're going to go to the very top of your page, look over to your right-hand side, and select Mark as Done. Scholars, you have been doing an awesome job. We are very proud of you, and I hope you continue to enjoy your day and learning about Cleopatra. Good morning, 5th grade. Today is Thursday, April the 2nd, 2020. We are doing a continuation lesson from yesterday. Today's lesson title is Unit 6, Lesson 2B. Before we get started, here are the following materials that you will need for today's lesson. Chapter 2, pages 13 through 16, a sheet of paper, pencil, distraction-free location, and you're going to need your notes from yesterday's class. Again, you will need your notes from Wednesday's class. Scholars, if you have any questions about today's lesson, you can reach out during our office hours from 2:15 to 3:15. Before we start, you would have also need to have read pages 13 through 16 and completed your DIRT quiz. If you have not read Chapter 2, pages 13 through 16, and completed your DIRT quiz, pause the video now and complete those assignments. Scholars, before we dive in, let's remember we are all one big learning family, all here to support each other, grow as learners, and make this virtual experience the best experience ever. A quick recap from yesterday's lesson. On your notes, you should have the following questions answered. What struggles did Ptolemy face and why? What happened when Ptolemy fled from Egypt? Sorry, guys, I am having to move this screen all around today. So, our focus question is the same question from yesterday. What steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt? On your notes, scholars, go ahead, write your lesson title. Again, today's lesson is Unit 6, Lesson 2B. Unit 6, Lesson 2B. Our focus question is the same. What steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt? Yesterday, we attacked this prompt, underlining and pointing out the key details of the prompt. We identified two steps. Step one, identify the first step and support with evidence. And again, those steps are the steps that Cleopatra took to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt. And then the second thing that we need to do is identify the second step and support that with evidence. Our very first annotation and discussion prompt is, what steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt? In our book, we're starting with the Lady of Two Lands, and we're reading until stop. We're reading in and stopping until earning respect in Egypt and Rome. Again, in our text, we're reading starting at Lady of the Two Lands, and we're going to stop at earning respect in Egypt and Rome. As you read, scholars, you are looking for the steps that Cleopatra took in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt. I'm going to give you an opportunity to read those pages. You have a total of 5 minutes. As you're reading, be sure that you're identifying a step that Cleopatra took. Again, scholars, you have a total of 5 minutes. And scholars, as you're reading, be sure to explain what title did Cleopatra take and why. Again, make sure that you explain what title did Cleopatra take and why. Just a reminder, you are not writing an ACE response. This is a short answer response. You're just writing the important information. Make sure that you notate your evidence as well. Scholars, go ahead and spice up your response by stating why Cleopatra wanted to be known as the Lady of Two Lands. Again, spice up your response by stating, why did Cleopatra want to be known as the Lady of Two Lands? Mrs. Trotter is so sorry. And scholars, you have about 2 more minutes. If you have finished, go back, reread. Make sure that your claim it makes sense and that you have um, evidence to support your claim. Again, I did ask you to spice up your response by letting us know or me know, why did Cleopatra want to be known as the Lady of Two Lands? One minute, 20 seconds. All right, we have a little less than 40 seconds. Go ahead and take this time. Write your final thoughts. You're telling me what steps did Cleopatra take? 20 seconds remaining. All right, scholars, I have a spicy question. Scholars, write the response to this question on your paper. I am only giving you 1 minute. That means you have to be really, really fast. The question is, why was it important for Cleopatra that she named her father in her title? Again, why was it important to Cleopatra that she named her father in her title? Get ready, go. Again, you're answering. Why was it important to Cleopatra that she named her father in her title? 40 seconds. Do not let that timer beat you. All right, guys, here we go. All right, we're moving. Going right back where we started. All right. So for our second prompt, the question is the exact same. We are just looking at another section in our chapter. The question is, what steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt? We are going to start at earning respect in Egypt and Rome. We're going to read all the way to the bottom of page 16. Again, we're starting at earning respect in Egypt and Rome. And we're going to read all the way to the bottom of page 16. So it's Almost a page and a half of reading. You will have 5 minutes to answer this prompt. Again, we're earning respect in Egypt and Rome, and you're going to read to the end of page 16. You will have 5 minutes. You're looking, identifying a step that Cleopatra took to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt. You have 5 minutes on the timer, and your time has started. So I know many of us have written about how Cleopatra felt about the customs and rituals, but push it a step further and explain how did that affect her role as a leader? How did the customs and rituals affect her role as a leader? You have 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Scholars, let's not leave any time on the clock. So if you have already identified a step, go back, check your answers. You can even go back and check your answer to the first annotation and discussion step. As a reminder, you're talking about steps. So you're telling me Cleopatra took this step. With 2 minutes remaining, go ahead and use all of your time. 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. 30 seconds. Push through. Make sure you've identified. At this point, you should have 2 steps. 2 steps explaining the steps that Cleopatra took in order to establish herself as the leader of Egypt. 10 seconds remaining on the clock. All right, and that is time. Go ahead, take a quick little stretch while I get our screen back. All right, scholars. So we are going to do a quick recap for the day. Your notes for today should include the following questions. What steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as ruler of Egypt? You should have 2 steps. One step from pages, what page is this? Oh, starting from pages 13 through 16. Sorry, guys. You should have 2 steps. Your steps are coming from pages 13 through 16. And in those steps, you are explaining the steps that Cleopatra took in establishing herself as the ruler of Egypt. All right, guys, let's do our lesson recap. On your notes today, you should have the following questions answered. All right, guys, you made it through. We are going to All right, guys, you have made it through. We're going to complete our lesson recap. Your notes today should include answers to the following question. What steps did Cleopatra take in order to establish herself as the ruler of Egypt? You should have 2 steps. 2 steps from pages 13 through 16 written in your notes. Again, before this lesson ends, you should have 2 steps written in your notes. Those steps are coming from pages 13 through 16. Scholars, you did an excellent job today. If you have any questions about today's lesson, feel free to reach out during our office hours between 2:15 and 3:15. Ms. Richardson cannot wait to help assist you and answer any questions that you may have. Before we end today's lesson, we're going to go over and go through our list to ensure that we have everything that we need for today's class. 1, you should have read chapter 2, pages 13 through 16. Check. Complete the Unit 6 Lesson 2B Dirt Quiz. Double check. Watch the video, Unit 6, Lesson 2B video. You've just done that. Check. Complete Unit 6, Lesson 2B Independent Practice. After you complete the independent practice, this is another important step. You must complete Unit 6, Lesson 2B Exit Ticket. Now remember, if you have any questions about today's lesson, feel free to reach out during our office hours between 2:15 and 3:15. If you're not sure how to get or meet with Ms. Richardson, right below all you have to do is hit the Zoom link. Now for tomorrow's lesson, you need to complete the following. Read chapter 3, pages 19 through 21. Again, you will need to read chapter 3, pages 19 through 21. 5th grade, you have been amazing today. Again, do not hesitate to ask questions. If it's something you do not understand, be sure to click the Zoom link starting at 2:15. Cannot wait to see you guys on tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay healthy. Be safe. Cannot wait to see how well you guys do on your independent practice and exit ticket. Make us proud.